Yo, how's it going, my fellow revelers? Welcome back to another episode of the Festy Hub Podcast. I'm your host, Manny, aka Frisky Hug, and for today's episode, our guest is Babs Lyfe. He's a fellow podcaster and a fellow content creator. He just got started with his TikTok, but has been doing content via Instagram, Twitter, and podcasts for many years. I'm very fortunate to have him as a guest. I've been wanting to have him as a guest, but with the holidays and stuff, things got a little mixed up, so we had to kind of delay it a little far back. I personally have taken a 2-week hiatus from just creating content altogether. It's just better for my mental health to take breaks every once in a while, so I'm really glad I did that, especially during the holidays. It's just really hard to kind of make content while hanging out with your family, while hanging out with your friends, while having festivals back to back, while traveling and stuff like that. I didn't warn anybody I was going to not be doing content for a little bit. I was kind of just like, I was just feeling unmotivated and a lot of stuff was happening at the same time, especially me trying to look for a new job. So did take a little bit of a break, 2 or so weeks, not a big deal. Something that I definitely needed for sure. But okay, yeah, we have Babs Lyfe joining us for this episode. But before we get started with the podcast, we are going to do our 4 shout-outs of the week. So number 1, we're going to start with our EDM content creator. And for this one, we're going to go with Luke. Luke is a TikToker. He goes by Apocalypse on IG and TikTok. So his name is kind of like a mix of what he does. He does a lot of poi. So Apocalypse is his IG, his TikTok. And he's very good at his craft, very good at his art. A lot of the stuff there is very visual oriented when it comes to his poi. But he also has visuals in the background, visuals on top. Really cool videos that kind of grasp the concept of poi art. Definitely give him check him out and stuff. His TikToks are definitely up there. He's got like a little over 100K followers. Okay, so for number 2, we're gonna go with our DJ or producer, and this was gonna go to Tek Savvy. Tek Savvy is a trap dubstep producer, amazing DJ. I first saw her play when we were doing the drive-in raves, and she is just amazing. She just got into TikTok, so she's also on TikTok. So it's Tek_Savvy. I think she's been uploading a little bit more frequently lately. She's been doing 4 in a month. But she just started honestly at the end of last year. But she's not really too much into TikTok. She's more of a watcher, less of an uploader. Her main passion in what she's doing is really producing music, and she's really good at it. I recommend checking her out. She's also on Spotify, by the way. Let's see, number 3, we're gonna go with our brand or business, and this was gonna go to my boy's brand. It's NocturnalSounds. Basically a bunch of my DJ friends that basically get together and they make events. There's I think there's 7 people in the Nocturnal Sounds group, so it's basically a promotional group as well as an event creator group. They just recently hosted their first big warehouse event. It was after New Year's from Countdown. So after the second day of Countdown, everyone headed to the Vanguard and then everyone headed to the warehouse. And there was a good 300 something people that actually showed up to this warehouse party, which for Nocturnal Sounds is a really big deal because this is their first actual venue event. So congratulations, guys. It's only up from here. It really is. All right, and then for number 4, we're gonna go with a friend or supporting follower. And this one's going to go to Elina and Josh. Elina and Josh, I met at Countdown in Orlando. They saw me waving my flag and they booked it, saw me. We had a good 10-minute, 15-minute chat just about everything that's been going on, how everything's going. We took a picture, and I just wanted to kind of highlight them. Just for honestly, it really does warm me, and it gives me butterflies knowing that people are willing to spare their festival time to come see me, come say hi to me, and that really means a lot. So I wanted to make sure I credit these 2 for just taking time out of their day, honestly, at a festival, missing part of a set, to come and talk to me, because I don't think that I'm worth it sometimes, right? So when people show that oh no, you are, let me go say hi to you, it really does make me really happy when that happens. So I want to put them out there, just saying just thank you guys. You guys are part of the reason why I'm editing stuff right now. Y'all plus a bunch of other people who say hi to me that weekend. y'all lift me up. Y'all give me the motivation that I need to continue doing vlogs, continue doing these podcasts, and continue editing. Because editing is hard work. If you've ever edited a vlog, you'll know it's very it's very repetitive stuff. So you kind of just get tired of it. It's mentally draining. So Elina, Josh, thank you so much. If you guys want to go and check them out and show them support for showing me support, their ads and everyone's ads will also be in the description below. So if you want to give anybody a look, see, you guys can. But there's his AlienMau5 and OMFJosh. Okay, so that was the 4 shoutouts of this week. Like I said, check them all out. Everything's down below. And without further ado, let's get started with the podcast. Yo, how's it going, everyone? I'd like to welcome Babs Lyfe to the podcast.
What is up, everyone? Festy Hub Podcast. I'm excited. Here we
It's
go.
about time, man. I mean, if you guys haven't seen his podcast, it's his Babs Lyfe Podcast. I was on it. I was a guest, and I remember I was like, I'm gonna do my podcast. I'm gonna do my own podcast, and I want you to be a guest. So like we're manifesting it. It came to fruition. It's all happening, and it's funny because at his podcast I was like, this is my plan. This is what I'm gonna do. One day I will do a podcast, and he helped me with that because he was like, hey, you need a mixture. Everything sounds better with a microphone. This and this, that, and that. And super grateful because I did end up buying like a mixer interface stuff, like
Yeah.
mic. You're the reason you're the reason I literally grabbed all this shit.
Yeah, I do. I know it's funny as I remember that, and I like you were kind of like you're one of the first people to ask me like, how did you start your podcast? What did you get? Yada. I was like thrilled to be like, oh my god, I can like talk to someone about this. So like, yeah, I do remember that us texting, which is so funny to me because of like, I know you from obviously like Twitter and TikTok and all that stuff, or and Instagram, so I've known you. And then like here I am on the come up, like it's working out. But then you're like, hey, how did you do this? And I'm like, wait, like it was just like it took me off guard at first, but I was so thrilled, and I'm glad you got the mixer. Yeah, I love having that set up. There's tons of ways to do it, of course. You know, you don't have to have one, but I think it just makes it sound so much better. I think the audio I think everything's so much better.
I go back to my first like podcast episodes and I go to the ones now and I'm just like, dude, the sound is just like like I guess you don't notice until like you have like an ear for it, but like I have an ear for it now. I didn't have it before, so I probably wouldn't notice in the past. But like now when I listen to myself, I'm like, damn, that is just crispy, dude.
I 100% like my first like 3 episodes I think were on my phone, and I mean like granted I'm happy I did them, but like looking back I'm like, oh, it sounds so bad. And then I have some episodes where I'm traveling and I have a little travel mic with me, and it's just not the same. Like it's just not. I need to get like a travel mixer or something. But yeah, it's so much better.
I use my Yeti. My Yeti is what I take like travel with me, but honestly that's just getting so big to the point where I might just get like a lapel mic, and just like if I need to talk to somebody, it'll be like a no video version. But I mean, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure everything out. I was trying to do some podcasting on the go, and the holidays caught me off guard, and I ended up having to like cancel like with 2 podcast guests. And I was like, it's just not happening. Like we have a full house. We have like 35 people in the house for this party.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, I don't even know why I thought this was a good reason, like a good excuse. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it happens. It's hard to like schedule. I know like for me, and like with the Festival Tales podcast with Aid, like we tend to schedule, like we look ahead and we try to schedule like, all right, you know, tonight we're gonna record maybe 2 tonight because we know like the holidays are coming up, and we know like, hey, you're traveling, I'm traveling. Let's not worry about it for those 2 weeks. We're just gonna knock them out in one night. Like it starts to get like that. It's weird to do that, but at the same time, it benefits your own schedule. Like it's just something you got to do. And I've been there too, where I've had to cancel on people and stuff. I mean, it makes sense. I always hate it, but sometimes it's, you got to do what you got to do, right? The type of thing, you know?
Well, Babs, I know you. We obviously talk a lot and stuff like that. But for the people listening right now that they don't actually know of you, go ahead and just give like a good like quick about me, just let them know who you are and stuff like that.
All right. So I'm Babs. I'm originally from Florida. I've since moved out of the great state of Florida, or bad state, depending on how you view that. But I am a digital marketer by day, festival goer by night. Trying to think what else. I enjoy melodic dubstep and dubstep as probably my 2 main genres. And favorite festival is Lost Lands. I'm trying to think of any other cool things about me. I'm just gonna go with that. Those are the things I'm gonna mention.
Well, where do you live now? Where are you living at?
I was gonna keep that a secret. No, I'm kidding.
I live
in
just
no.
give me the address
It's on.
Just give me your social security card then.
Go follow me and find out. No, I'm kidding. I moved to Greenville, South Carolina. Took a job opportunity for the moment, and it's nice. It's a nice little change. I wanted to change the scenery. I got it. So
That is actually really funny. Greenville is one of the like only places I've ever been at in South Carolina.
that sounds about as accurate as possible.
Yeah,
That's South Carolina for you.
I met
There's
I meet most of my friends via like Radiate, Instagram, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I made a friend on Instagram, and on my he was like posting flyers and stuff, and I was like, oh man, like really would love like to spend my birthday doing something. I'm like, would you be able to host me if I came? He's like, bro, you're Frisky Hug. I will do anything if you come. And I was like, literally invited me over, bro. When I tell you I booked a flight like this, and I rented a car, headed straight over there, bro. And when I tell you I had an amazing fucking birthday with people I've never met before and made just new friends with. I mean, dude, life's all about this kind of shit. I'm all about it, man.
I mean, 100%. I get that. I've got friends from Twitter and stuff like that, which is just crazy. I mean, that's how we met, obviously, too.
Yeah.
But like, it is nuts. And like, I've gone to visit some of them, and we went to concerts together. We've flown halfway across the country together and stuff. It's crazy to think about that's the world we live in now. It's exciting though, because it's like a whole different opportunity than like our parents had. Like I think about that a lot. Like, not to get too off topic, but like our parents,
There's no topic, bro. We are the topic.
there are, I mean, yeah, sure. But like our parents, they like were stuck in their hometown basically. I mean, some went off maybe to college and then came, but they almost all came back and they almost all stayed. Like it was rare for people to like go out and then like, oh, I'm gonna meet my friend in New York. Like that wasn't like a thing. I feel like oh, like maybe you and your neighbor are gonna go to New
It
York
was
together.
never like that, and I wonder if it's because like maybe flight prices are a little bit cheaper now. Like I travel across the world for $60. Like what?
Yeah, it is nuts. That's also true. Is like that's so funny you say that. Like I think about that with cars. Like okay, because like planes, well, that's one thing. That's like way out there. That's nuts. Like that's crazy. Okay, in reality, like we take it for granted. That's absolutely crazy.
We do.
But with cars, like imagine like back in the day, they used to either walk or they were on horse and buggy, and it would take like a thing that takes like 2 hours would take a day. And like now it's like, oh, like you're in like the Orlando area and I'm from Tampa, so like if I wanted to go to Orlando, I'm just gonna hop in the car. It's an hour and a half drive, I'll be there. Like now, back in the day, it's like we gotta like pack food and
It's like
and
a good
blankets because we
why.
probably have to stay the night.
I mean, that's why like their neighbors were their best friends. It's like, dude, if you want to make some new friends, you will have to travel for that. Like,
yeah, it's weird. It's so weird. Yeah.
and it's like I used to want to accept that like, oh, my close friends in town were my best friends. Like those, like that was our clique, But in reality, man, when I started raving, I started to realize that my real friends, that are the ones that I truly fucking love, and I would kill for, not die for, I would literally kill for, are literally in other states. And I was like, yeah. And this is one of the biggest reasons why like I do travel to festivals a lot. It's the one time where I can have all of my friends from all over the world meet me in one area, and I can spend a whole weekend with them, versus having to go to everybody's house and like do that individually, which costs a lot of money, really. So like we all just meet somewhere, spend on a festival ticket, we all just enjoy ourselves together. It's fucking amazing. And people used to like my friends back at home used to like always shit on me for that. It's like, oh, where are your friends? Like, stop hanging out with these drug addicts and this and that. I'm like, honestly, man, I'm like, this is one of the reasons why we're probably gonna like break up our friendship. It's just we're not compatible. We're not. I don't really even like people who think like that. So
yeah, it's definitely. It's funny is I struggle with that too. Of like because I'm that my friend group back home. Like I am that person that wants to travel around, like do all this stuff, and I go to all these festivals. And like now I'm, that's my group of friends. Like, oh, you're going to another festival. I'm like, yeah, I am. So like I get that because I feel like I'm just going through that kind of now where I'm like, I got all these friends like that I go and hang with, and I'd rather, not in a bad way, but like I'd rather hang with them at the festival than I would at home.
Unfortunately, like your taste in music has a huge impact on like who you want to hang out with.
That's 100% true. Yeah.
Like, I hate to say it, but it's like it's less about the hobbies and more about the music. I could literally hang around and not do shit all day with my friends listening to dubstep at home or listening to house music. I love all music, so like it doesn't really matter as long as it's EDM. I will be 100% gravitated towards you, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I love all sorts of type of music, but my priority is EDM. It's what I've made my lifestyle. It's what I've made my side hustle. It's what I'm making my future career. Like if I could envelop myself in this atmosphere even better. So I try to surround myself with people like that.
No, I mean, I think that's why, that old saying, you're like your friends. That I just butchered that
You
old
butcher the
saying.
motherfucking thing. You are
Oh
who
my
you hang around with.
yeah, that's it. But like they understood. But
They meant what you said.
yeah, but I mean, it is kind of true. It is to a certain extent. I mean, I think it is true. I think we are individuals, but they do have some influence on you, whether you want them to or not. And you with your goals of like being in the industry, it's probably important to have friends that want to also be around the industry.
Yeah,
Like, that makes it a
correct.
lot easier. So I mean, it makes
If I make
sense.
an EDM TikTok, I hope my friends are going to share it. And if you're not, then I don't feel supported. But why don't you share it? Because you're huge onto rock or you're huge into country. Obviously, you're not going to
Yeah.
share it. You probably embarrassed to be my friend at this point. This
Yeah.
guy's-
I only have one friend that I can think of that he will comment on my stuff, even though he knows nothing. And like if I post like a question thing, like 'cause I started doing some like Q and like I just started doing like Q&A videos for festivals that
yeah,
I've gone to for a while now, and he like will ask questions. Like it's so funny to me. I'm like I'll text him. I'll be like, yo, thanks for that, because I know he knows nothing, but he'll
yeah,
do his
yeah.
best to like help out, and it's so nice when your friends do that stuff. So yeah,
I
you
know.
gotta have friends that support. Absolutely.
100%. And because a lot of the algorithms that we deal with, it has to do with shares. If your friends aren't sharing, they're not helping the algorithm for you. Like
Yeah.
it's the algorithm is very picky about who it wants to send the information out to. So on Instagram, I mean, however many followers you have, let's say you have 5,000 followers, and you're wondering why your videos are getting shit views, or your videos are getting shit views, and your picture are getting shit likes. Well, Instagram isn't even throwing it out to people. Like it's just putting it in the shadow. You're being shadow banned or shadow blocked from like being seen because nobody's engaging. It always say it's like the first like 2 hours that if your friends are like happily like engaging and sharing and saving, dude, they're helping you out. My friends do that all the time. Even though like it's whatever I'm posting is whatever, like they'll share it, they'll comment on it because they know about the algorithm. And I've had to explain that to them, and they're like, okay, like whatever it takes to help Manny out in his goals, which is why I'll always fucking look out for my friends, which is like when I get free tickets and I get free camping, like y'all ain't paying for shit, like y'all helping me out. You're the reason why I'm even here, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean 100%. Would you say like your friends are like your family basically?
Oh, 100%, dude. It's funny. I was actually telling my mom, I was like, oh, you guys are like my real family, but like this is like my other real family. like
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree with that
I
100%.
tell my
Yeah.
mom like all of you guys are like except for like my core family, like my brothers, my sisters, my mom, my dad, stuff like that. Like except from them, my relatives are really just like my like blood family. You know, they're important in the aspect of like yeah we're related. But like, I told my mom like one day I was like I'm making my own family, people that I care about, people that like I feel like I need to be with.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I've always felt that way. And nothing against, my blood related family, but there's parts of like we just don't talk and stuff like that. Like there's certain family members that we don't talk and stuff. So it's very hard to be like yeah, like I'd rather go hang, in the sense like, oh, I'm gonna hang with the aunt I don't talk, or I'm gonna
Mhm.
go have and I'm not saying you shouldn't have family time. Like I have family members I am close with, but definitely
Exactly.
like I've had that feeling, and yeah, my friends are my family too, I would say.
I literally have, and people say like, oh, like your friends. Like one day you might just never talk to them again, and then that's it. That was your whole friendship or whatever. I'm like, my family too. There are uncles I haven't talked to for 15 years. What's the
Yeah.
difference? The only difference is somebody I know is in contact with him. That's it. That's the only. That's it. Sometimes I mean, the rave group is so small. Even rave friends I have like still are in touch in some way or form. Like it's a small community. We're gonna bump each other again. I will see somebody I hate in the EDM community before I see my family.
That's probably very accurate. Oh goodness.
Talk to me, Babs. How long have you been raving for?
Oof. I started in the summer of 20, I think it was 2017, actually.
Okay.
No. Wow. Yes, it was 2017. Yes, it was. I'm confident in that answer now.
What got you started?
Gosh, that's such a funny story. It was not a planned festival. Let's put it at that. So I'll tell the story. It's a quick story.
Yeah, go for it, brother.
But so one day back home in summer, me and one of my buddies, there's SMF Music Festival, Sunset Music Festival in Tampa, and it was going on. We knew it was happening. It was day 2 of the festival, last day. And I just kind of looked at my buddy, and we were eating lunch, and we went out for lunch for some reason. We're eating lunch, and I just go, "Want to go to SMF today?" He was like, "What?" And he doesn't do that stuff either. And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, like, it'll be fun. Like, let's just go check it out. I know some friends there. You know some people there. Let's just see what happens." And he was like, "Okay." And then we just got home, started looking for tickets, didn't find any. And I was like, "Damn." And I was like, "Yo, let's just drive over. Like, someone's got to be selling tickets." And he was like, "You think so?" I was like, "Let's do it." And we just drove over, and we drive by the stadium. Okay, so quick tidbit: our original plan, we were like, we could, because we had friends that hopped the fence. I was like, we could hop the fence, we could do it. I was bad. All right, I was that.
You're bad, Babs.
I was bad. I'm sorry, that was too funny. Okay, so that was our original plan, and we're like, let's drive around, scope it out, like see where we could go. And I'm not exaggerating with you. We the first wall we go by, there's like security guards every 10 feet. I was like, oh, I guess that's not gonna work.
Yeah,
we turn the corner, and there are police on horses like going back and forth. And we looked at each other, and we're like, they have horses now? And we're like, we can't do this.
There's no running, nothing.
There's no way. So we were cracking up about that. And then we saw some dude selling tickets on the side of the road. We pulled up next to him, and I was like, how much? And he was it was right outside the gates too. So I felt comfortable. And I was like, how much? And he was like, $80. And I said, I only have $60 on me. And he was like, $80. And I was like, I only got 60. I'm driving away. And we were about to go, and he was like, fine, 60. We took 2 tickets for 60, parked, went in for $60.
And these worked. These tickets worked.
It worked. It 100% worked. I think we got very lucky. But we get in. I saw, from what I'm Yellow Claw, Millennium, Snails, and Above and Beyond, in that order. Those are the 4 people I saw that day. It was a great festival.
Having technical issues.
That was the weirdest thing. That's never happened before. My GoPro just went weird on me.
It's all good. Ain't no worries. We're back. We're back.
Let me give a quick intro. It's like,
hey, good.
Okay, you guys didn't see that, but my camera decided to be all weird, so we're gonna restart with the conversation. I believe you're jumping the fence or some shit, and some guy gave you a $60 ticket.
Yeah, we got a $60 ticket. It worked. We went in. Day 2, we got in. We started with Yellow Claw, and then it went into, there was some DJ in between. Then I saw Millennium, then Snails, and it ended with Above and Beyond. So I had a very lucky festival experience, I would say, for the first time. It's all some good DJs, and that is when my love for Millennium started. I had heard some of his songs at this point, but I'd never seen him live. Didn't know I had saw him live. Like, I didn't know who it was until like this, midway through the set. And I'm like, who is this? And
I used to like Elina more like in the past. Like nowadays, like I still like his music and stuff, but like the crowd's been a little bit more culty.
I agree with that. He was my favorite artist up until probably the last 5 months. And I've switched over. I've got a new favorite artist.
What is it?
7 Lions. I'm going. I am a big Ophelia Records stan. I actually love all of them. I listen to a lot of Ophelia Records. So, but 7 Lions is now the number 1. But I have to agree with that. I like super into old Millennium, and
same.
Yeah, there was nothing. I still tell people this to this day. That set I saw for the first time was like straight melodic, like very little hard dubstep, and it was just so different than his sets now. Like when we went with when my girlfriend saw Millennium for the first time, I was like, what do you think? She's like, it was amazing. And I was like, it was good, but it wasn't as good as it used to be. Like I didn't, because it wasn't a full melodic set like he used to. And nothing against that. I love that he is incorporating the dubstep. I love melodic dubstep, but it's just hard to make that comparison, because that first set I ever saw was
7 Lions has been pretty good though. 7 Lions has been just chef's kiss all around all the time. And like even Excision, I've seen Excision so many times that like nowadays I'm like, I just love old Excision versus like new Excision. But
I can't talk too much on that one because I got into Excision later, probably within the
Oh,
last
gotcha.
2 years, 2 years really. So I've kind of just seen this type of Excision, and I'm curious to see what the next album comes. But yeah,
Right now, I'm on like a Slander and like Subtronics like train right now.
a Slander train. Interesting.
Yeah, I love
I'm
Slander.
interested.
I'm like really into Slander. I'm really into Subtronics. Like those two names are like. Mm,
So what I gotta ask then, just because what do you think of Slander sets? Because you go and I'll go.
I think personally, like they go hard. I mean, I don't like there's they have their moments where they ease up a little bit, but
Mhm.
like the production's always been great every single time they play. Like and I've never had a bad Slander set ever.
I
Um,
will I will totally agree with that. I've
okay.
never had bad Slander set, but
What are you
insane,
tell me, man?
but
Break
insane.
my heart.
No. Because I started in 2017, we saw Slander a lot. I don't know, they just happened to be on like all the festival lineups we went to, and agreed they were very hard. But I saw them so much to where for me it felt like it was very repetitive. They go really hard the first 30 minutes, and then they slow it down and do more of their actual songs. And that all changed though the countdown, because I went to them at countdown. It was hard. I left for Solving King. I went to the after party, and that Slander after party set was one of the hardest sets I've seen. If it was still 2021, it would have been one of the hardest sets of the year I had seen. I'm not even gonna lie. It was, they did not let up, and I was like, who is this? Like, I was
Dude.
shocked.
I mean, I wasn't like a huge Slander fan before. Like, it wasn't until the Subtronics back-to-back Slander set at Forbidden Kingdom where I was
That
like,
was a very good set.
what is this? Like, this is so good.
I'll be honest. That was one of the most elite sets of the year as well.
100%.
Yeah, they just
My buddy
they
and I used to
mashed.
talk about that shit. That shit was
They
just fire.
we talk about it all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, they mashed very well.
Yeah.
Like I'll be honest. I went and saw it because I was like, I got to see it. It's probably not going to happen that much. Like, I need to go, but I really didn't. I was like, I don't know how it's going to go. Like, I was nervous. I was like, I hope they don't do what they do and slow it down. Like, I hope they don't, and they didn't. They just kept hammering it. And then when they did
100%,
slow it down, they only did it for one drop, and they did it for that one drop, and then they ramped it back up, and it was a surprise that they ramped it back up. And I was like, that's how they need to do all their sets.
When people tell me that they were at the other stage, I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, you just missed probably the best set of the entire year.
Yeah, it was very good. Matter of fact, I still have videos I have yet to
We
post.
watched this video. We watched the Slander back-to-back Subtronics video every night this whole last weekend. We were just like, oh man,
it was that good. I will agree with that. Yeah, and then like I said, their after party set after countdown was unbelievable. I was like actually blown away. I was like, who was that? Even my one friend was like, that was a hard set. Like, that was the hardest of the weekend. It was like,
yeah, I maybe I didn't want to go. I was planning for some other stuff. I went home to get changed because we were going to like warehouse party. But like, I mean, if someone offered me a fucking table, I would have gone. Like, nobody offered me, and we were like, "Oh, bro, come over." I'm like, "Oh, right, you have room in your table because if you don't, I'm not coming." Like, I'm not to sound like self-entitled.
I thought that was so if I could get in your table,
I mean,
I'm not coming.
I'm humble, but give me a fucking table, bro. No. But let's talk more about podcasting, man. I mean, so what are your podcasts? Like, what do you have? I know
Yeah, so for those that don't know, I've got two podcasts. I've got one that I love hosting with Vibe with Aid, for those of you who know her, called FestivalTalesPodcast. This one's my fun one. We have such a great time doing it. We share anonymous stories that the listeners or viewers write into us. We share those stories. We have some funny comments that go along with it, and then we kind of give our own experience or share our own experience if we can relate to it. It's just a fun time. I have a great time with that one. Got some big things coming this year for you guys. We got together. We've got some big plans for you guys. So hopefully vamping that up a lot for you guys. I'm excited. My other one is my own, the one that I originally started with, and it's the Babs Lyfe Podcast. That's LYFE, and there's a reason for that, which we'll get into. Yep. But It's a podcast, honestly, there's no specific topic. It's the broad topic, one that I love to just sit down with friends and guests of all walks of life. I've had influencers, I've had DJs, I've had nuclear engineers on, and PhD students studying physics. Like, I've had just all sorts of people, and it's one that I enjoy that because I can talk to them about their profession, what they love in life. We can relate on things, and you just get to hear me talk about a variety of subjects with other people. And I love getting to just know someone for an hour or two and dive into different conversations I wouldn't normally have on my day-to-day.
What got you started? Like, what was the core reason why you even thought about, like, hey, let me just start a podcast?
It's wow. I don't remember
Tell
the
us.
exact. I don't remember the exact like light bulb that made me think like I'm gonna start a podcast. But I remember not wanting to be, but just wanting to. I guess it falls into my ultimate goal, which is to not have to work a 9 to 5. So my ultimate goal is to not work a 9 to 5. And back in college, it was like, what am I gonna do? I'm broke. Like, what am I gonna do? And started talking to one of my buddies, and he was just mentioning, he put me on to like Gary Vee and some other social media guys that talk about like using social media to propel your either your business or your personal brand. And listen to them for maybe a month or two. And then I remember just being in his car one day, I can't remember what we were doing, maybe just driving around and really diving into it. And he was like, dude, you could do a podcast. Like, you could do one. I really could see it. And like, he's like, you could start a new, Instagram. Do you figure out what you like and start doing it? And I was a little chicken at first, but I did it. Like a month and a half later, I texted him. I was like, I did it. He was like, what? I was like, I did my first episode. And it was just kind of that was like, I can do this, and I'm going to use it as a way to do other things in life that I want to do, because I love like the fact that I'm like I said earlier in the podcast, I'm very free spirited. I love to travel. I love to go to these festivals. I'm that friend in the group that we're like, I'm even now in the new city I'm at, my friends are like, are you gone this weekend? I'm like, yeah, sorry. Like, that's how I am.
Yeah.
And I looked at it as like, I can do this from anywhere if I so want to. And I love talking to people, and I love EDM. So let's bring it all together. And hopefully one day I can, monetize it and stuff like that. And if not, I mean, so be it. I do enjoy doing it. So it's gotten to that point where like, I just enjoy doing it. Like,
and you do videos too, or you just do sound?
Yeah, I do the videos too. Yep, they are on YouTube.
Did you start? It's like episode 1. Is that on like video as well, or did you like transition? Because I know like there's a lot of us podcasters, right? We some of us just do like sound only, and then we transition to video, and some of us just go straight fucking balls deep, bro. Video.
I mean, bless your soul for going balls deep. No, I did not. I did my first 3 episodes off of my phone. Then I graduated college, and I used my graduation money to buy my podcasting equipment. I bought a new laptop. I bought the mixer, the mics. I bought 2 mics. Like, I got everything. So if I have a guest in person, like, I've got all that situated. And my laptop was trash. I needed a whole new laptop. So like, I spent a lot of money on everything, but I did that, and I was like stoked. And I'm also someone that like, I almost need to spend money on stuff because in this sense, because like, I'll look at it as an investment, and then I'll use it. Like, if I buy something and I just buy it, or I'm sorry, if there's something for free, like say like working out, like people be like, my dad used to be like, you can do push-ups and you can do the squat, you can work out without the gym. And I was like, yeah, but I won't. Like, like I need that $10 a month out of my bank account for me to be like, I cannot let that money go to waste.
Exactly, bro. I'm the same way. I have the gym like right behind my backyard, and like, not my gym, like Planet Fitness is literally a block away, and I'm like, I still don't go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it though. Like, so I'm someone that's like that, and I kind of feel like I just went off topic. What was the original question? Oh, the videos. Oh, I'm so sorry.
we can just keep going off topic. It's fine.
But like, yeah, I did not dive into video right away. I got super lucky, started doing video because that same friend that I had talked with that got me into all this, he was doing the same stuff for his company that he had started. And his company was doing good enough to where he was able to buy a small storefront, and their small storefront happened to have an upstairs. And he was like, listen, like, we're going to make a studio up there. do you want to help out, make the studio, and we'll only charge you, like, we just want you to pay the internet for the whole building. And it's just his little small business. And I was like, done. Like, I don't have to pay rent. I don't have to use anything. I'm just paying the internet. And it was like $55 a month. And we set up a full studio. And that's when I started doing videos, because we had the camera, we had a backdrop. And we had started on like just a regular, like, fold up table and a computer.
Yeah.
And
my idea actually is, and I was thinking of brainstorming with my roommate, it's like, if I get enough like podcasters within the area, I'd be like, hey, like, we all pick like a day out of the week and we all use a studio and we all just pay for it. Like,
it's a great idea. I mean, I know people that own a studio that they use for music production, but then they rent it out, through other people, like what you're saying and stuff. And it's a great way, whether you look at it for everyone, it's an investment for themselves, and as well as, like, you could tell them, like, hey, we can schedule people like when we're at work, other people come in and we can split the money however we need to, or whatever. I don't know the logistics of it, but like, yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, honestly.
Right now I'm just like in my room. Like, this is like in my room. Like, it's nuts. When people walk in, they're like, dude, this is like literally like 70% of your room is a studio. I'm like, dude, my room is my studio, bro. Like,
that's where I'm at right now. I mean, I was there with them, and then when I moved, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I bought a tutu, but I wanted a roommate, save money, yada yada. But like, now I'm like doing it in my room, and it is weird to go from a full studio, because when I left too, we had done all these upgrades. We had like professional lighting going, and we had good cameras going, and I was like, this is great. And then I was like, I'm leaving. And now I'm just using my little webcam.
I actually record with my GoPro. I tried using my DSLR, but it actually was worse quality than my GoPro.
No, that's so smart. I don't know why I didn't think of that, because I have a GoPro and I could have done that, and instead I spent money on like the CX270 webcam or something.
Yeah, for some reason my GoPro doesn't do that weird thing, like when you move too much and like a certain light hits it, it doesn't like change the lighting or the exposure. It doesn't. Yeah, the light stays the same. Everything just stays the same. So when you look around,
it looks like a ghost.
See, the background is going like in and out. Mine doesn't do that.
No, that's because GoPro is superior. They're the best. They're the best. Like, they're awesome.
Oh, we're hitting the mic. Everyone's like, we're hearing.
All right,
clank, clank.
Sorry, guys. Which GoPro do you have by chance?
I have the 8.
The 8. Okay, cool. Yeah. I just upgraded to the 10. It is nice. Bonkers. It's bonkers. I was like, I had the 6 before. I've been using, for all my vlogs are with the 6. They don't look horrible. Yeah, but they don't look great.
I think you need like a 7 and up to even like use it as a GoPro. Either 7 or an 8 and up to use it as a GoPro.
Yeah. Did you have any friends that had the original GoPros, like the first and second version?
Back in the days, man. Like,
I remember when my neighborhood friend got one. My neighborhood best friend got one, and I remember thinking, like, because you see the videos on YouTube, we're like, we're gonna do so much cool stuff with this. Yeah. And like, he was videoing, he was like, doesn't look like the videos. Like, he was so disappointed. Dude, but now I think it does. Now it's crazy.
I know these GoPros aren't even allowed at some events. I've actually tried taking the GoPro, and they're like, "Yeah, you need to put that back in your car." I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now?" It's a
really?
Yeah,
I have not had that happen.
I've had it happen to me twice already, bro. Yeah, so I've had to record with my phone. I'm like, this is it. This is like, thank God I have a huge memory card.
Oh my gosh, that's good to know, because now I'm gonna start bringing my old GoPro just in case. No,
any GoPro.
Oh, any GoPro.
Yeah, they don't have GoPros at all, because they don't care what they just say no GoPros now. So in some places, I know Colorado, when I was there, they're like, I literally went in with my GoPro. That you need to put that back. You should have seen the prohibited list. It wasn't allowed. Like,
was that for what's the festival there? You know why that is? That's because it's at a football arena, and football arenas don't allow GoPros. Oh, because it's only football. I mean, I don't know about all events, but I know for a fact
it was at the parking lot, so I don't know why.
It's an NFL rule, like
really?
On the grounds, no GoPros. Yeah, because when we went to the Millennium Trilogy show, we ran into that issue. Same thing, and we forgot that it was like, we walked up with ours and forgot that it was an NFL arena.
Oh, so you have been through that problem. You know.
I didn't think about it because it was my buddy. I didn't have I left mine at the hotel, and I was like, we're gonna use your, because he just bought the 9 and it was so much better than mine. I was like, we're using yours today. We're leaving mine at the hotel. Mine's garbage. We left it's not, but I just said, but and yeah, he ran into that issue, and we were fighting with security for like 30 minutes.
It's like, you're not gonna win, man. Like,
they let us have it in.
I was at home base back in 2019, and GoPros were allowed, and I brought my GoPro in, bro. When I tell you security was just like, you can't bring this in. Like rules are rules. I'm like, oh, I showed him the rules. Oh, the rules are here, and then he's like, no, 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 I don't like it. Like you can't have that inside this and this. I'm like, all right, well, I text home base. Home base is like, yeah, you can have that in. Showed it to him. The security was like, nah, nah, nah. Like I don't give a fuck what you're showing me. I'm like, literally, home base is telling me I can have it, and Brian had to come through and like tell the security like I was good to bring the GoPro in. I'm like, dude, I shouldn't have been outside for freaking like 15, 20 minutes trying to explain to a guy like the security guard about the rules that was implemented. I'm like, it's on the rules, bro. Like I don't understand. Like
This is a man with like the power went to his head. He had that little piece of power, just went straight to his head.
I mean, it does nothing other than make me mad and make me call like who's ever in charge. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I agree. Great, ridiculous.
there's nothing worse about making a fucking scene, and then like it's one thing to make a scene and like I don't have followers, and it's another thing to like make a scene and I do have followers.
He's like, I know you, Babs Lyfe. You ain't got shit. I don't give a fuck.
Well, fuck you. You have you shoot you do your podcast with your like webcam and stuff. I actually do have a webcam. I just don't use it. It's worse quality. I don't like it. I use my DSLR. Didn't fucking like it. My GoPro is the one I do actually like. It's good quality. This like even out this video, love it. The lighting's perfect, great. I use a softbox and use a ring light to get two different lights and stuff in different directions. And then this microphone I got from Amazon. I just got like the whole package with like my with my mixer. Got the cords. Got all the the arms and stuff. Got this little light from Walmart, and that's basically like my setup aside from like my laptop, and I got this like desk and stuff. And well, what about you? What does your setup look like for your podcast?
Yeah, I just added an actual light, so you're getting like a first glimpse of this actual good lighting. Because before, for the last like I don't know 10, 20 episodes, I only was using the light in my room, and I had a lamp that I would like position over there and hope it like didn't look bad. And then I have it somewhere. I don't know where it is. I have this like see if I can find it to show you. I won't see it. I might have thrown it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so then I bought this. I did this the last like 10 episodes. This little light.
Oh, those little lights, bro. Let me tell you, I was at my cousin's place and I was just trying to do like a podcast, like we're doing that holiday party. And when I tell you, dude, I raised the windows to get some light, and then I had my little light, just like that, little lights, like sitting on her like counters to like give me some light. I'm like, there, bro. We're humble, bro. We're humble. Like sometimes we're struggling out here, man.
This little thing is like for a phone, meant for like a phone. But I'm not gonna lie, it's super bright. I don't think it's gonna work.
Same thing with like my GoPro one.
Oh my, yeah, it's so bright. I look like a ghost when this thing's on me. So I'm finally glad to get rid of it. Oh my god, I'm like blind right now. But yeah, now I've got a ring light, mixer, webcam. I think I have it's like a CR270 Logitech webcam. It's one of the ones I used previously at the studio. So I just bought a new one since it was.
I tried looking for one of your microphones. I couldn't find them online.
Yeah, I think this one. Yeah, this one's just a Samsung. I got this at Sam Ash. I got everything except the lighting and the webcam at Sam Ash. I went and they had a big sale when I was there, and I got like the mixer I got lucky, was I think $150 off at the time. Then the guy really set me up with mics, cords, arms, so I got all those.
And it's crazy because like all this extra stuff, like this is just stuff like I guess me and you kind of accumulated, because you're talking about you just started off with just sound, right? So like people start with like their iPhone and a lapel mic, and that is it. I mean, I started with a Yeti mic, like that was all nice. I had. And it was a nice mic.
It was a nice mic. Yeah. I mean, again, my first 3 episodes were on my phone, my iPhone 8. Mm-hmm. And
you don't even need a laptop technically. You can just do it off your phone. Like
no, yeah, you can. And that's funny is I did do some off my laptop too. Just put the laptop in the middle of like a table and just beep. All right, here we go. We're talking. Like, it's so funny to think about that. And now I've got the mixer and the recording capabilities. I haven't been using it lately, but I did use OBS Studio.
You know what's
for a
funny?
while.
you're okay because God damn it, you're a reason why I use so many things that I'm using now. Like believe it or not, like my mixer, I wasn't using it right. A regular mic, I wasn't using like when we had our episode, I was like, when I was texting you like, hey man, what do you use? Help me out. Like I want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
better my podcast. And one of the things you were talking about was like how you were using OBS, which I already had downloaded, but I'm just so like I'm such a millennial, right? I'm not Gen Z
I
yet,
know
so
what you're about. I'm so not tech savvy either. I know what you're about. It's such a pain in the ass. It's
like but
I know what you're
I was able to figure out how to use it, and I was measuring Zoom recording versus OBS recording, and honestly, OBS is a little superior when it comes to like recording. So an in person like recording session when I because dude, even now, the fact that I have an in person podcast now isn't is like you just keep leveling up. You're like a Pokemon. We're getting to
yeah,
the next
yeah.
evolution, you
Yep.
know, and I've evolved to the point where like I am now doing like in person podcasts. I'm getting guests over and we're sitting down. We're having a couple beers and we're just fucking chatting it up, bro. And I do that through OBS, and that's all thanks to you, like telling me talking about OBS. Otherwise, I'd be doing this some like shitty recording session. I'm like,
Oh, it's funny is first off, the ones in person are the funnest. Like
yeah,
no offense, Zoom's great, but like I know what you're talking about because when I had the studio, I would have every once in a while I'd have a friend come on, and we would just same thing. Like we would just have some drinks and be chilling and talking, and it just was flowing differently because you're just there to talk. It's a different feeling, but yeah, but OBS we used, and I haven't used it recently because I moved and I was having issues that I'm not tech savvy either. I could not figure out why it wasn't connecting with my Zoom, because when I was at the studio we had it set up and my buddy did help me, but he showed me how to do it, and it was a way you could download something to where Zoom linked to OBS. So I could record everything on OBS, but like me and you could still be on the Zoom call. But OBS would record me and you next side by side, or I could flip between him, you. So like it was a
my question
good.
is, what was the purpose aside from like seeing the volume range?
Wait, say that one more time. Sorry.
Like, what was the purpose of like linking into OBS? Like, why?
Because well, I could set up, like if you go back to my older recordings, I had the full studio set up. So like at the top of the screen it said like the Babs Lyfe Podcast, and then it had like my name, the guest name,
So
and
I
I
have
could.
that, and that's saved as a template that I made on an actual editing software program.
Oh, see, well that makes it. I didn't even know that was. See, that's how tech savvy I
Yeah,
am.
you don't even need
Okay.
yeah, you don't need OBS. You could just literally just do it in the after production. So everything's edited, and then just save the overlay, and then just replace the video, and it all just kind of just goes over.
Yeah. I mean, that's some good editing. I'm in the process of learning how to edit right now. I mean, like my vlogs are like step one. That's pretty simple, just
Yeah.
like cutting and putting together and mashing. But like, I'm still learning a lot of editing. Yeah, but back then, because I was trying to do things, and when I first started, like as simple as possible, and it was just super simple to do it that way because I didn't have to edit anything at all.
At
It
that point,
was
you just
just
upload. Yeah.
correct. So everything was ready to go right from the press of record. It recorded everything, and then boom, up onto the platforms, and it's good, and then it's dispersed. Like I didn't have to do any of that. So I mean, again, everyone's got their way of doing it and their yin and yang. I'm very much someone that's like, I want to just do like get it all set to where it's just like streamlined, and that's
Yeah.
why I did it that way. But yeah, you could absolutely. I mean, that makes sense. You could edit
I
it.
think the next step, at least for me, is I want to set up a Twitch account, and I want to not only do this episode like on YouTube and Spotify, but I want to stream us literally our 1 hour session of just.
And see, that's the other thing that I used OBS for, was because you can connect your Twitch accounts and everything on there. There's a gosh, I haven't done it in forever, but you can. I did do that. I had it connected on the studio to where I could live stream if I wanted to, and it would do everything. Can't remember all the ones that was connected
I used to do it for video gaming. I just don't know how to link it to Zoom.
That's why I did it over OBS. That actually probably is 100% the reason why. Not only did it streamline everything for when I wanted to record and disperse, but like if I wanted to go live with someone on Zoom, it would window capture Zoom, boom, boom, me and the person on OBS, and then I could click record and stream simultaneously. So it would have everything there. And if you do stream, you do want those tags there because it's live. So yeah,
Right.
that would make sense why I did that now.
I mean, so what kind of guests do you have anyways on your podcast? I know you have you had some friends and stuff on there. Like what other talk to me like about your journey, just like podcasting and stuff. Let's talk about everything.
It has been quite a journey. I mean, again, I would still say it relatively that I'm like not like I'm still nobody essentially. That's the way I would classify it. And with my podcast, it was very hard to get guests, but I was able to get guests very, very early. I think just people seeing my Instagram and stuff. I got very lucky and fortunate that some people liked my vibe and they liked what I was saying and what I was talking about. So I got very lucky in that sense. And that's, main advice. Yes, be as authentic you as possible because that will attract the people that you want. Other than that, my podcast was originally the Babs Experience or something like that. And I changed it because I was like, it's a little too Joe Rogan-y. I want to be my own thing.
We all go through that. I thought the same
right.
thing.
No, don't get me wrong. Joe Rogan is definitely played a role in me podcasting and whatnot. And I modeled a few things after what he does, but that was too much. I was like, I can't do that. So I redid it. But the idea of like talking to guests and getting to know them, that was influenced by him as well. So the podcast is the Babs Lyfe Podcast now, and life is spelled Lyfe. And as I said earlier, we get into it. So that stands for live yourself for every day. And that's like the main theme of the podcast is live yourself for every day. And with that, I want to have guests on that it's evolved into this now, I should say, is like, I want guests on that I see that are living themselves for every day. Cause I can't, but, in doing that, I want them to come on and share their passion, no matter what that is. A lot of times happens to co-align with my passion, which is great. It makes conversation so much easier, but other times it doesn't. Like I've had my buddy on who, and luckily we're good friends, but he's a PhD student getting his doctorate to be a nuclear engineer. And like, that's nuts. That blows my mind. I don't know anything that he knows, but like, I'll have him come on and he'll tell me about what he does and how he likes it. And then from there, I can feed off of his passion and we can go into, other conversations. But that's the main gist of the podcast now. And that's what it's evolved to I want guests that are happy and excited and are living themselves, their best lives. I want them to come on because I just think that helps inspire other people. And you never know what guest I might have on that might help inspire someone else to go do something, like whether it is an influencer, someone in the music scene, or even just my best friend that wants to come on. They might say something that might inspire them. And that's the main gist behind it. And what I've kind of angled it and had that goal of is like, just have people on that are enjoying their life, because if they're passionate, then I'm going to get excited to talk to them about it. And then podcast is going to go great from there. So.
And then how did you get started doing the podcast with like Babb with Aid? How did that whole thing like ended up? You're just hey, gosh, Aid, I need to be the podcast with you.
No, it's so funny is, again, I think, there's a lot of things that factor into it. I think about this all the time. At that time, I was really grinding. I'll be honest, I've been a little slacky in 2021, but I really was grinding at that time. Babs. Yeah. There's a lot going on, people. No, okay. No,
Bad Babs was so 2020.
Yeah. But back when I first started, I was really grinding on things, and things were moving very fast and in great directions. And I can't stress enough that I was try to be as authentic me as possible. I try not to hide anything. And I started reaching out to other influencers and people in the EDM scene that I wanted on. And I reached out to her one day, and we actually go back even farther than that. Cause when I was going through that whole process of like, what do I want to do? I want to do something on social media and something with a podcast, but what do I want to do? I actually reached out to Aid because she posted something on Twitter about like, I went to these festivals for free because I do this and this work. And I DM'd her off of that tweet and was like, I'm very curious about this because I love going to festivals. Think I want to go into that type of like social media niche, like blah, 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 blah. And then we didn't talk for months. And I just DM'd her again. I said, hey, it's just random. We haven't talked. Like, I'd love to have you on my podcast. I finally started like doing the things we talked about so long
Yeah,
ago. And bless her heart, she came on, which was shocking to me. And she came on and we just had a great conversation, and I think it flowed really well. And I just remember afterwards, I did her pod. Then she invited me onto hers, which again, I was like shocked. I was like, okay, yeah. And another great conversation, had a good time. And then after her podcast, she was like, hey, so I have this idea for a podcast. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm thinking like she's just gonna run it by me. And then she's like, so yeah, it's this. We're gonna tell stories of people write into us and yada yada. But I want you to co-host with me. And I was like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, I think you have a really good vibe. And like I remember her saying something online that like you've got a really good vibe. I like it. I think we mesh really well in a sense, and I think it'd go really well. And I was like, I mean, yeah, I'd love to. And then we, hashed out the details, and the rest is hitting. Now we're 60 something episodes in,
Yeah, dude,
and
crazy.
quite the ride. Yeah, it's crazy.
I've been catching up. I had a 33-hour drive all the way to Florida. On the way there, I was like, I was catching up on some festival tales, catching up on a bunch of other podcasts. But I was doing a lot of podcasting, and I was like getting my feeling. It's also really good to like kind of like see how other people do podcasts and stuff, because like I as much as I want to be just 100% original, you can't do that without first figuring out how other people are doing it too. Maybe you get good ideas from other people. I mean, I originally wanted to do like a little bit of like music, a little jam at the beginning, and then I was like, fuck the fucking jam. I just want to get to the fucking point.
Yeah. I mean, mine's evolved from the beginning as well. I mean, the original idea was I'm going to have DJs on, and what we're going to do is I'm going to interview them. The podcast is going to go out on a Monday. And on Wednesday, they'll do a Wub Wednesday special mix. Yeah, and if you go back and look, the first couple episodes, maybe, I can't remember the last Wub Wednesday, it was forever, maybe episode 12 or 15 or something. But I did like 3 or 4 different interviews, not necessarily big DJs, but just DJs that wanted to come on, and they absolutely came on and talked. And then on Wednesday we did a Wub Wednesday mix, and that was the idea at first, and then it's evolved more and more until what it is now, which is just interviewing people that are passionate about their stuff.
Yeah, see, mine has also evolved where I had my podcast regular stuff, and like I do my 4 shout outs of the week at the beginning, and then we move on to like the actual episode. I want to do shout outs because I wanted to make sure people are being recognized for just being supportive or being great, for just doing good things in the community. And I wanted to shout them out. And then I'm like, okay, then we'll get to the episode and stuff. One thing that it's evolved into, though, is I wasn't doing mini episodes before. So now if there's like a certain topic, such as like, oh, we're going to do like a review of a festival, and it's only going to be like 20 minutes long, I don't want to make that a whole episode. Like right now we're at an hour, because an hour is literally very like common at this episode. To replace that with 20 minutes doesn't do it justice, and I feel like a 20-minute. So instead I'm like, you know what, I'll take off the 4 shout outs for these minis and just make them straight up like 15-20 minute videos. They're easy to make, easy to upload, and just get that content out. Like right now I already missed out 2 weeks of podcasting. It's fine. Like I do so many mini episodes now that it's just like I'm just throwing this content out anyway. So like, yeah, I'll excuse myself.
No, I mean, it's funny you say that. Is like that is, I've taken like a 3-month break, which personally I really think it was needed, and it let me focus on some other things that needed attention in the realm of social media and YouTube and stuff that I was trying to start and not get overwhelmed with, because it is overwhelming to do everything. But this let me get the break let me readjust some things. But coming back from the break, I'm starting to think about doing mini episodes and changing again, kind of pivoting the way this podcast is going. I've done some solo episodes already, but I think I'm going to start doing some more of them and make them like, I don't know, Motivation Monday or Life Check-in Mondays, something like that. Something small where it's a quick, like you're saying, 10 to 20 minute, something quick. And I'm like checking in with everyone on the week. And then I'll still do guests when I want, because that's kind of the way I want to pivot it now. Is I don't want to, I mean, you work full time, I work full time. And I know right now for me, it's very hard to get the time to like do an interview every week and then edit everything on top of, I want to now do YouTube. I want to do TikToks. Like So I've pivoted
A
to
lot,
where
man. People don't understand until they start
dude,
doing it. This is not an easy road.
it is. And I've been, again, I was very not on my grind and very disorganized in 2021. I don't want that to happen. But in saying that, I'm going to pivot some things around and do some things differently. And one of those things is like, I think what I'm going to do with the podcast is I'm still going to have guests. Sorry, I hit my mic, everyone. But I'm still going to have guests on. But I think it's going to be more of like, I'm going to do the guest shows when I want, and they're going to go up when I want versus one every week. And that's just more of a free up time, plus pivoting to really focus on Festival Tales more. And I want to be able to do that for sure once a week. So I'm kind of making, like, the way I view it. Sorry, I'm going on like a tangent here, but just stop me when you need to. I will talk too much. But like, I'm pivoting to where like Festival Tales is becoming the new priority. And Babs Lyfe is still the brand and stuff I want to work on, but it's going to be on the back burner. And for those that love me in Festival Tales and they want to know more of what I'm about, who I am, they can go listen to the Babs Lyfe podcast. But it won't be as consistent as I'm doing the Festival Tales one.
Yeah, Aid was telling me the same thing because I was talking to her. I'm like, hey, when are you like gonna redo like Aid again and all that stuff? Your Vibe one, and she's like, honestly, she's like, I'm feeling like Festival Tales is kind of where I want to be at. She's like,
yeah, I mean, we can talk about it now, but we had a very long talk ourselves. Like she, at first, so funny, it scared the shit out of me. I remember she was like, hey, so like, we got a second like to talk about some things. And I was like, yeah, like let's talk about some things. We set time aside, and the way she started, I thought she was gonna say like, so like I'm done doing festival. Like I remember I was like, oh no, like I love doing this. No. And then she was like, so I'm actually gonna stop doing Vibe with Aid, the podcast, and I'm gonna completely focus on Festival Tales. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, what do you think about that? And I was like, I like it. I like that a lot. And I was like, and I told her, I feel the same way. Like I feel like that we have a very unique opportunity with a very niche topic that isn't explored yet in the rest of the EDM world that we could really hone in on and really like do a lot of work and monetize it and make it go. But we would have to, like, something has to, go. We can't do everything. And that's how I felt, the same way. I was like, all right, I'm going to put my podcast on the back burner. I still want to do it here and there, but I'm not doing it every week anymore. And we're going to focus like solely on Festival Tales. We both feel that same way, which I'm so glad.
That's so funny. We literally just do each other. I was like, I'm so glad. I was saying the same things. Like, dude, honestly, just like, I'm very fortunate that I decided to take the step like do a podcast because like I am loving doing like these whole podcast stuff and like I wanted to make a name for myself other than that guy's the hilarious guy who just does TikToks and he vlogs events and stuff like that, right? And it's like, and like it took motivation, like it took you and like Party Perry, Vibe with Aid, Emma Capotes to really like get me thinking like, dude, I could do more than what I'm doing and I need to step up my game, right? So when I started doing podcasting, it's been very eventful. It's like I want to provide something to the people. So like in order to get guests, I need to provide that. And I'm like, it's crazy how many people will tell me like, yes, like I want to be on your podcast. Like I need to be on your podcast. Like the amount of DMs I get, like I need to be a guest. Like I don't care. Like so it's very welcoming. Like because I was like struggling. Like, oh my god, I struggle getting guests. Like is this gonna be rough? But no, honestly,
that's awesome. And truthfully, like to those listening, I would say that would be maybe the best advice I could give as someone like who's gone through it from 0 followers. So what I have now, which isn't crazy, but I'm happy with it. And like it's continuously growing. I see that like it's always moving, which is great. But like it is very hard for me as a podcast that wanted to have guests to get guests with a low following. It's almost a much wiser idea to focus on making content on social media and fully devoting to that, because you could always do the podcast. And I think as well as like when you build that fan base, like people are going to want to hear more of what you have to say. I think that's just like those that are your big fans of you want to hear you articulate something different that either you're not going to do in a 15-second skit or a clip, or you're not going to be able to articulate on a written post. They can go and listen to you. And that's definitely something, again, talking about that pivot, I decided I'm going to stop doing the podcast, and I stopped for 3 months, and that allowed me to focus on my YouTube and then pivot more onto TikTok. And like, now I'm like excited to be doing those because I wasn't as much, and now I can do them to where I'm posting 2 to 3 times a day on TikTok. Oh, and then let me take the TikToks and put them on my reels and then on
and
my
be that
shorts.
guy, but you have to establish reels and establish some TikToks. You can't at this day and age, even DJs are on TikTok. You have to move with the times, and it sucks. You wish like it was at the old times where like you are just followed for your work. But I'm sorry, but like you aren't going to be recognized as fast. And in this game, you're competing against. I hate to say it, but you're competing against other creators. So if you're both DJs or you're both podcasters, but one podcaster is on like 5 different platforms and you're just on one, you're just on Spotify, you're probably not going to get as much traction as the other people, right? So you want to make sure you're using basically everything that's available to you. Even though it sucks and like I hate posting on TikTok for like podcasting, but I know it's good for me. Eventually, somebody will look at it, So use everything you've got.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And I think the big thing, like, and again, I can speak to this because of like me and something I went through. Like, for me, getting on TikTok was very hard. It just wasn't natural. I was very in my head about it. I was very worried about what other people think. Like, that's a big roadblock for people. I had a moment and a realization where it switched and it was like, this is my life. And like, I want this. I want it. Like, I need to start doing TikTok videos and skits where like I might look kind of silly, but like, but then once you start doing it and that mindset shift happens, you get more comfortable in it and you get more comfortable doing stuff that might be more silly. And there's some that you like, you probably can attest to this too. Like you make a TikTok and you're kind of like laughing at it because you realize like this is kind of silly, but like you
cringy sometimes, honestly.
And sometimes cringy, but then at the end of the day, like in your head, you're like this. Like you post it and you're like, I had one I posted and I was like, it's a little cringy, but I have a feeling it'll kind of do good. And it did do kind of good. And I was like, okay, see, I went with the gut. And like, but it took some time. And not everyone, at least in my opinion, not everyone can just dive into that. Some can. And I've seen some people just no problem, get on the camera, do it, don't care. And that's awesome for them to have. I think that's for most of us something we had to work on. I mean, just like with podcasting, as we've evolved, I was just talking to you earlier before we even started, like I had some guests on that I got very fortunate, but very early. And I look back at those interviews and I'm like, damn, I would love to have them on now because I'm so much more comfortable. Like I'm so much more comfortable.
Man. New year, new me, new podcast, bro.
Everything. Yeah, exactly. Not even that, just the evolution of 80 episodes. By episode 80, I'm way more comfortable than I was on episode 20. So it's like, yeah, it's just kind of.
I still have like my first podcast and like listening to myself and I'm just like, oh my god, everything was just so much different. It's like I don't know what to say, and it's like just the beginning was a little bit different. Like nowadays I'm just more comfortable being in front of a camera. Not that I wasn't, because I'm probably a little more step ahead than most people were like being in front of a camera. But it was like being able to just look at the camera. Like right now, my camera is like literally right in front of me. I can barely see your face. It is like
right.
That.
No,
that's where I know that my camera has to be. And I was like, that's where I had to be. First, like over here, and the person was over there, and I'm like, okay, you learn, right? Now I gotta move it. Like everything, you learn it as you go.
Yes, 100%.
And I also took some time out because you were talking about taking like a 2-month break, whatever, like 3-month break. I also took like a 2-week break, and I was talking to some of my followers and stuff at Countdown, and everyone was talking about like how they love my podcast and they listen to this episode, that episode, this episode, and I was like, "All right, man, you get back into this. Like you can't take these long breaks. You gotta get back into it." Like,
no, and I wouldn't recommend everyone. Like I did take quite a long break. Like 3 months is very extensive, but I didn't take 3 months away from everything. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I took away from the podcast because I felt like I needed to pivot and do other things because again, like my advice was earlier, I started with no audience. I've worked up to 30, I think I'm at 3,800 right now. Like I've worked to get that. That's still a very small following. I love the people. They love me. Like it's great. It's a nice niche, small following. But I look at it now and I'm like, if I focus on that more, I can get that following up and then I can go, hey, I have this podcast here. And then, and that's just going to be so much easier than, again, trying to do everything at once. And I mean, that'd be my biggest advice. Yeah. If I could go back and do it, it would be like, just hold off on the podcast a bit, really focus on your social stuff and get that down and in a groove. And then eventually add the podcast. Like, I really do think the way you've done it is ideally the right way to do it. I mean, it's very,
I mean, agree to disagree in some sense. because like what I did was pretty risky, just going like balls deep into a video, recording it. Like that was really ballsy of me.
But like again, you had like the established audience where like they would potentially come over to check it out. Like, I mean, and then granted, on the other side of that is like I wasn't again I slacked off 2020 or 2021, and I wasn't really doing the video edits I was doing and all that. So like that affects the monetization and the views as well because I wasn't doing clips, I wasn't doing any of that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I was like, I got to reassess things because I'm like all over and I need to be on the path, you know. So everyone's got their thing. I mean, I wouldn't recommend 3 months, but at the same time, if you need to take it and you can properly do it, I think it's great because like I feel so much better. Like, I mean, literally 3 weeks ago, I remember I was just texting my girlfriend. And I was like, I just all of a sudden like feel like I have a lot of clarity. Like I've got like it just like hit me. And I was like, I'm ready to go grind again. Like I wasn't, you know, I was like, perfect way to say it was like I felt like I was just going through the motions, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna record, I'm gonna get a guest, all right, I got it, and I'm gonna put it up, like, and then just repeat, and I was just going through the motions, and it was like, no, I need to want it again, like I need to have that grind, and then I just took those breaks.
It's hard to find that motivation, man. Like I was just talking to some of my friends, and I was like, dude, I think these last 2 weeks I haven't uploaded on anything, man. I didn't upload on TikTok, Instagram, nothing up until like New Year's. And it took people coming up to me like New Year's, like, hey man, like people who are literally like coming up to me telling me like, dude, you mean so much to this community. Like, please don't stop uploading. Please don't stop what you're doing. Never give up. Like everything that you're doing like means so much to us, and you'll never really understand like how much like we appreciate you in this community. And it like to have like about 15 or 20 people tell me that at one time, I was like, I gotta get back home and I need to fucking start grinding, bro. I need to start editing these fucking videos. I need to go back
Yeah.
to this podcast. Like I was feeling like my shit wasn't getting nowhere, right? And we all go through that. We're all kind of
We
so
definitely do.
we all go through that shit. Like why the fuck are we doing this shit, bro? Like we're not getting anywhere with this, right?
Yeah,
And then
I had like a
bless
meltdown a month and a half ago, and Aid
yeah.
like set me straight. She was like, "You're good." I'm like, "No, I'm not." And truthfully, as a follower or fan of a creator, the best thing you can do is say, give a compliment. I mean, we
100%, man.
like really for real when people like, it's crazy to think about this, and like I'm starting to get recognized when I go to festivals, which is
Yeah, dude.
nuts.
How is
like,
that? How do you love that?
it's like I get shy about it. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. Like I literally, because like, yes, I've been working to where I would like, again, I've been working for that because I have been, and so, but it's so weird because that again, I'm not super big yet, but I've got enough following where it's happening, and I'm like, this is like, it was like crazy to me, and it warms my heart when they say, hey, you know, I follow you and I really like your content, like keep it up, dude, it's really awesome. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like thank you. Like I make sure to say that. I'm like, you don't understand like how much that really means to me. Like, thank you so much. I've had friends pull me aside that I didn't think in my friend group, my rave group, like, yeah, they follow me, but I didn't think they really followed me and what I was doing. And then I've had them pull me aside and be like, hey dude, love what you did with this love this episode of the podcast. I love that content you made. Like, and I remember like just it means the world to us because we do have those mental battles of like, I'm not doing this right, I'm doing bad.
Bro. And that shit really helps a lot. Like our followers, like our supporters, and low key like our Instagram friends and stuff like that, our content creator friends, and everybody really kind of just helps you out. Like I definitely got a huge push out of everybody that came up to me, and I have been making it a point lately. In 2022, man, I'm gonna start doing this a little bit more. But like, you know, I put them to the side. I'm like, hey, tell me about yourself. Where are you from? Like, what do you do? What are your goals? Like, talk to me about you. I want to know my followers and my supporters a little bit more. And that I want to be more than just a fucking handshake and a hug. Like, let's talk a little bit. Like, what you got going on? You know. And honestly, man, I think that meant a lot to me. Having to hear my followers, my supporters, just hearing them out for like 5 to 10 minutes, bro, meant so much to me. Just getting to know them. And I was like, I want to be a different me in 2022. I don't want to be the guy who is so known that I don't have time to fucking just stand for fucking 5 minutes. I know a set is playing, but dude, this guy literally stopped what he was doing. He chased you down. You know, he said, hey, I want your camera. Like the fact that I got chased down multiple occasions, I need to just take this time to go and talk to you. Like
yeah, 100%. That's awesome.
You left your fucking friend group. Let's fucking talk. Like, you know, and then hearing them be like, oh my, like like I love listening to your podcast. Like I remember this episode and this like them actually like talking about the things that you did and you played and you
Yeah.
said. I'm just like, you do pay attention and you're actively like supporting me. Like, why can't I take 5 minutes out of my fucking time, even though it's at a festival? Guess what? That festival was free. I didn't pay for it. Why can't I take time out of my fucking festival time to go chat with some of my supporters and maybe like some of the content creators right now listening to this? Like, maybe this is advice to all of you guys as well. Like, whether you have fucking 5,000 or you have 50,000 followers, remember, like, they're people too, and show love back when they're showing you. So I've been trying to get better about that. I will say 2020, I was a little worse about that. 2021, I started getting a little better. In 2022, I'm going to be a whole new person. I want to take time out of my day.
But I mean, just with anything, it comes with that territory of learning and growing with it. I mean, like it's not like
100%. Yeah.
I mean, like look at like mega celebrities, like I mean, but we said Joe Rogan earlier. Let's look at Joe Rogan. I mean, like can you fathom having 16 million followers and like everywhere you go, someone
True,
recognize you? Like there's a very weird thing that you grow with it, and you got to get used to it, and then. Like I'm sure he has times where he's trying to handle it his best. Like it is something you start to learn as it occurs.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Yeah.
Like I started just thinking about like Riot 10, Subtronics. These are very humble DJs. And I was like, the fact that they have time to come out and ask me about my day, I'm just a small person compared to them, right? I'm still like a somewhat medium creator, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm small compared to them, but they're asking me how my day's going, how I've been, wanting to hang out, want a shot. The fact that they're taking time out of their day, bro, and I'm like, y'all are humble as shit. I aspire to be these DJs, these producers. And they're like a big reason why like I want to be a better person, a better content creator, and take time out of my day and stuff like that, because these podcasts are an hour long, bro. To listen to me every week talk for an hour with my guests means a lot to me. And
I know, man. Yeah, I've been there. I mean, it's crazy. I've had people come up to me and say stuff about the podcast, and you're like I remember the first time it's happened, I was like, wait, what? Yeah, I was like, you listen to the podcast? And he was like, yeah, man, like I love it. It's very relatable and blah blah blah. And I was like, what else? What other things do you like? Is there anything I could do different? Like, what is it that you're wanting? Like
So
I
good
was
to
like,
get
let me pick
feedback,
your
yes.
brain, man. Like, yeah, and like I mean, I even go sometimes as far like. And again, I'm a little bit smaller, so I can kind of do that. But I'm like, hey, like if someone says something to me and they're talking to me, I'm like, yo, shoot me a DM when you get home. I'm gonna make sure I follow you. Like, like it's something like something
Bro,
small.
I do the same thing, man.
Yeah,
I do the same.
small.
I do the same thing. If you chase me down, bro, I want to make sure that I'm following you. So even though the reception's a little bad, I'm like, hey, like DM me, because I'm like, we're not gonna do this, like, and like DM me, be like, hey, I'm that person, etc., etc. So I'm not like adding like a spam account or something. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It is. Yeah, I try my hardest to do that if I can. Yeah.
You're gonna do great things, my dude. I mean, like I said, you inspired me to not only like start my podcast, but be better at it and like all this stuff, like, so, I mean.
Well, I appreciate that. And truthfully, you are one of the people that inspired me to get on TikTok and start doing things. I was rolling through your TikTok and I was like, I can do skits like this. I can do this shit,
too
man.
easy, man. They're just too easy.
Yeah.
It just takes time and effort. And as long as you have those two, I mean, you could literally do anything.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Well, yes. Yeah.
Babs, I have two more questions for you.
All right, let's knock them out.
What is like the next festival you got going on for 2020? Where can people see you?
2022.
Did I say 2020? I meant 2022.
I knew what you meant. Sorry. I wasn't trying to correct you. I was just thinking in my head. But,
no, but I thought about it. I was like,
there's a potential to go to Okeechobee. It's my first one. I've got a lot of friends going, so that's probably highly likely. And I'm not sure at the moment. I usually always go to Lost Lands. That's like a given. It's my favorite festival. I'm doing Paradise.
I'm gonna probably go this year, bro.
Well, we will for sure hang out for a set. We'll figure that out, no doubt. I'll be at Paradise Blue for sure. That's already paid for, so that's taking a big chunk out of my festival money.
That's an expensive one, my dude.
Yeah, the thought is make it a whole trip. Be out there in Cancun and get a little private time.
1 sec, man.
My video. I didn't know this was happening, but it's okay. We're gonna do this with the old shitty.
This isn't too bad. This isn't bad.
It'll be alright.
Bad?
For those of you looking at the YouTube video, I had my GoPro just decided to be a complete Dutzy on me, so we're chilling though.
Turn back on. Yeah. No, this is bad, but yeah, Festival Paradise Blue. That's funny. Paradise Blue. Yeah, and I haven't really given too much decision as of yet. A lot of the stuff I end up going to, truthfully, I like kind of have an idea I'm going to, but don't buy for till 2 months out maybe. Yeah.
One more question, man.
One more. All right, I'm ready. Lay it on me.
What does living yourself for every day mean to you?
It's a loaded question.
You ask this shit every time, I do.
I say it's so funny. Quick tidbit, when I started asking this question, I forgot to give people a heads up that I was going to ask it. And like the first two people I did to were like, oh, that's a lot, bro. I have no idea. And I was like, well, you can answer. And like, so now I start telling people beforehand. I'm like, this is going to happen. Anyways, but what does living yourself for every day mean to me? Well, to me, it means that you're doing something you enjoy for you, and you're living your best life, but you're not being a dick about things either. You're living humbly, you're living happily. Like I've always had this thought in my head where like there's a fine line between I'm doing me and being a dick about it, like you can do you and still be nice to people and like loving, and that's super important to me with friends and everything, and a relationship, everything. Like I think that's super important. Like, yes, do you, but do it in a way that is also nice to others around you. But that's what I would say. So being happy with what you're doing, having fun every day, and then I would add working on yourself every day, because you got to continually grow, and then not being a dick about things.
Yeah, dude. Being humble is such a huge thing. And I talked about this in some of my previous episodes and stuff, but I've had to learn how to be humble. I think at one point, just because like at the beginning, like I just growing in general is pretty hard, right? So like there are people who on TikTok grew like 300,000 followers, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm the shit. Like look at me, like I whatever. But they're still so brand new to the content creator realm that's like they don't even know how to be humble. And I think taking it slow and moving as you go, just getting noticed like once at a festival, then twice again later, and then 3 times, is great. So like that's like that keeps you humble, because you're realizing how you're stepping up to where you fit in and stuff. Versus people who like go from 0 to 100 real quick, and they go to their first festival and they're at like they come across like 300 people that know them. Like they don't even know how to handle that. So people will be like, "Oh, you're really like, rude. Like I can't believe you like didn't take any time out of the like you just ran past me. You just like waved at me like this." And there's usually like us as content creators coming up like them, trading candy with it, making a whole thing about them, to come across a content creator who doesn't even know how to react to that. They're so brand new to it. They don't even know how to be humble about it. It's just like they're just like, yeah, I'm huge. I get it. They just keep walking. It's like some people just don't know, man, and it takes time, and it takes getting to really grow as you go. Otherwise, you just make a fool of yourself, and then people start calling you out for it. I am one that has been called out. I need to be called out, and I agree, like 100%. If you call me out, like 100%, I will be better. I will be a better me. But other people take offense to like, oh, like here's my defense for it. Like, nah, don't be defensive about it. It's like we're growing, we're learning. We're gonna be better next time.
Yeah, 100%. And I think to add to that, like true friends will call you out on that stuff. Like true friends will
really will, man.
In my opinion, like a good friend is someone that's going to call you out on some of the BS you might do. Yeah, they're not gonna let you just let that shit fly. Yeah. At least they shouldn't.
My friends have literally made sure that like you like, hey man, like try being humble next time. Like I was like, fuck, here we go.
Yeah.
Here I go again, dude. I just don't know how to. I'm trying to be better. I'm gonna be better. But
I'm not coming unless I get a table.
Like I said, bro, I'm
just messing with you.
I'm being better. Leave me alone. You're a bully.
That shit was so funny when you said that.
And you're right. It's like
I knew you were messing around, but it was just
I
so
know
funny.
I'm just too poor to not get it for free.
Ain't that the truth?
I'll
at that.
I'm a little jobless at the moment. But Babs, it's been great, man, just having you on the podcast, bro. Glad we were able to make this happen. Sorry that we weren't able to do this in person, drink some beers together and stuff, but everything happens for a reason. I probably wouldn't have like the time to even do that anyways. So I'm glad that we decided to eventually just reschedule. But to all the listeners out there, this podcast is available on all other platforms. So if you aren't watching the video version but want to, it's also on YouTube. Most people just listen to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, stuff like that. But like I say on every episode, until the next one.